I started feeling sick, having abdominal pain and bad pain in the back of my neck. And at first I thought it was because one of my friends at my little school had like roughhoused with me one day and grabbed me by the back of my neck at recess in a weird way. So my mother, just like normal, took me to my pediatrician that was just outside the city and started to realize this is kind of continuing to persist. At one point we were up in a patient room and I was realizing, wait a minute, they're talking like I'm not leaving. It was like a bomb went off in my heart and in my mind of like fear. And so I just started crying. I asked my mother and she was like, don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you. Like, I'm gonna be right here. And so she did that from age 5 till when I was 15. I mean, somebody protecting you. I see every day in my work how rare it is for a parent to be able to be with their child in the hospital all the time, especially when it's long-term admissions and admissions that happen a lot. And that is absolutely something that I carry into every person that I care for, whether it's in my life or my career, who has been put through a lot and traumatized, is like, they have been put through enough. And how can I protect them when it's possible from whatever is next? The scary thing was at first they didn't know what was going on. And so I was just staying in the hospital. They were able to put the pieces of the mystery together and see, okay, it's this illness called pseudotumor cerebri, which is just Latin for false brain tumor, and your body is reacting in that way as if you had one. So I think for me, the dominant emotion was always fear. Like, is it always gonna be like this? Am I ever gonna get better? I've had about 14 of those neurosurgeries and over 400, 500 spinal taps. It had gotten that dark and that hopeless. And I was having just continual readmission, go home, readmission a week or two later. And that was when we moved over to Mass General, and life changed after that. That was when Dr. Chapman was brought in to start looking at, we need to do his neurosurgical care differently than he's ever gotten it. Dr. Chapman was always super humble. To my mother, he would say, we're just gonna go in there and see what we can see and do the best we can with what's in front of us once we get in there in the operating room. I'm treating it serious because I'm your doctor and I know it's scary, and I'm in this with you. I try to carry his humility into my interactions, whether I'm doing visits with patients and families or sitting down with a staff member who's hurting. I lost all of that time and had all those painful experiences, but I always knew, before I even knew that I was ever going to be working in a hospital, I always knew that I was meant to do something, to give back and to go back to the environment that I understood the most. Our pediatric hospital that I moved over here from had a Schwartz Rounds program over there, and so I would always go attend that. And I always thought, oh, I would like to bring this into our pediatric hospital and just have a pediatric version of this. I never dreamed one day that it would happen and I'd get to be the person leading it.
I've worked with James Paul for several years as his manager and friend, and we're grateful to have him. We're grateful for his passion for Schwartz, especially. I think for James Paul, supporting Schwartz, programming Schwartz, being part of this community, lifting up panelists, lifting up the folks that we're caring for, lifting up the people that Schwartz benefits. He is a model for how that works.
Schwartz Rounds, there is no alternative. Only Schwartz Rounds can provide the type of unity and connection building. It creates safe space for team members on a workforce who maybe are not having the words to ask for help anywhere but in Schwartz Rounds.
Unless you're able to show up as the human being that you are most fully, you're not able to provide the best possible care for the patients and families that you're working for. If we're not tending our own wounds, they end up either leading to burnout or dropout. They're able to provide better, safer care because of the fact that they've had a safe space to process what they've gone through. Compassion is cornerstone to the work that we do, not just for the people that we care for, but in order to continue to come and care, compassion helps us to keep coming back.
It reminds people how much their fellow healthcare workers are carrying besides their clinical work. or their administrative office work. And so I've seen people where their attitude towards another person that they've worked with for a long time changes because of something they heard them say in Schwartz Rounds. And it's so cool to see those relationships change, the transformation. And I feel like when we have that type of connectedness, we give so much better for the kids, and not just the patients, but their parents as well, and for each other. Things that CEOs worry about for their company, like retention, employee engagement, all of these are vital, critical needs for hospital executive leadership. And Schwartz Rounds can honor that and serve that and assist hospital executive leadership because it creates engagement, it creates retention. Patients get the direct benefit. The way that Schwartz Rounds helps people learn a new way of listening to other people's struggles, that absolutely in my hospital goes with all of our staff after Schwartz Rounds. They take that new sense of learning to listen to other people's journey and struggle and pain and fears, and they take that to their patients. For me, when this came into my career years ago, you know, it was not lost on me at all, the poetry of that this was another Boston guy, that his family, his story created this whole new road forward for me. Every time when I tell Ken's story, there's a different part of the story that comes alive for me as I'm sharing the history and the mission of the center. Thank you, Ellen. My life wouldn't be what it is without you and Ken. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through loss, and Ken had to go through losing you and losing his health, for this all to come to life, because I feel like I take so much and I get so much from it that it does make me very emotional, because it has truly transformed my life. I know I'm just one of many lives that you have transformed, and what you have done with your story has been so healing for so many others.
If, God forbid, we get a serious illness, each of us is entitled and deserves the best possible care, not just of our body, but of our spirit and our soul.